See, first of all, let me remind you one thing. ESG valuation, that is environmental. You might heard about green buildings and all. So environmental portion you are well aware of. Then a social, what is the social impact that is going to be made? Then comes governance. What is governance? Not by our government. Governance means internal governance of the corporate offices. So that is meant by governance, ESG. G stands for governance and it is corporate governance. So without proper awareness of ESG issues, corporate cannot do anything, because somebody should be there in the board of directors who is highly, aware of social impact as well as environmental impact. That is going to see after the COVID era, we know that people are more interested in ESG constructions. It is a bit different than the traditional construction, and valuation is also different. But all the tools are available with us. Only thing is there are so many methods for environmental. But what about social governance? Social aspects. Very difficult to measure, quantify. So similarly, governance part. But we have our tools now. But IVSC has to approve. The second or third circular has come already. There may be some standards they will set, probably within these 6 months. And every country is signed a treaty because of this carbon emission, COVID, greenhouse gases, so many other reasons. So as you know, even 1 centigrade temperature is rise now. What will happen? Arctic Ocean will melt, and around 150 cities will be submerged in the flood water. 150 main cities. So we are fast approaching a stage which we oversee after 2050 or something like that. Now we are only on 2022. So everybody is in, knows the gravity of situation, those who are working in this field. So earlier the better. So we have to learn this subject thoroughly, and valuation also as a valuer. This is a hybrid, topic. Land and building values has their own role. Security and finance people has got their own role. Land and machinery people has got, because the automobile emissions. So that is also pollutants, which increases the ESG gases. So green effect, green gas. So that we'll see. Or let me share the presentation, and whatever doubt you have, you ask me, and whatever I know, I will tell you. Because still it is in nascent stage, so we'll see. So this is your field for tomorrow. Definitely, no doubt about it. ESG means I have given the last sentence, environmental, as introduction, as Kazimana says, environmental, social, and governance. So ESG is a fast-growing avenue for valuers. Somebody is admit order. Can you do that? Admit order. Is waiting the outside. So this is the topic, today's topic, ESG. Okay, fast growing avenue. Let's see one by one. What is importance of environment? Most of us know. Of course, most of the engineers know about this, because we have attended so many, even in MEP classes, we have gone through this. Manuel sir, Manuel sir, can you please unmute? I mean, mute your mic.
எனக்கு என்னன்னா ஒருவேளை இந்த ஜைலோரிக்கு பதிலாக மாத்தின மாத்திரையில இருந்தும் கொஞ்சம் எதுவும் ப்ராப்ளமா அப்படின்னு தெரியல.
So environmental factors almost all registered values now, because we have seen some basics in MEP classes, mandatory education program, while you are taking IBB exam. So climate change, you know it. These are all common topics now. How it affects natural resources, then pollution and waste, then comes biodiversity, how it affects biodiversity. Even a single species in the earth disappears, it will affect the whole mankind as well as all other creatures around. In one fine morning, something is disappearing, some species is disappearing from the earth. That will affect even a snake. Poisonous, no, we know it, but that changes the balance. So that kind of things, you know. Then why social? What are the social aspect? See, this is basically a human rights issue, because polluting. See, basically, we are all agree that a famous adage, that is, this universe is not ours. Actually, it is to be handed over to the next generation. It is our duty to preserve it. So here in the human rights area, there is special social impact, because acting a few of companies, or by the activities of a few companies, the whole mankind is going to be affected. So that is one. Number is supply chain standards. See, this is one of the issues we are facing, especially in freight by ship. What happens, you know, the ships are generally used for, say, suppose they bring oil to your crude oil to your country. This full tank, you know, Plimsoll line and all for ship, you might have heard. So that will come up. So ship will lose its balance if it goes back without that same weight, or almost same weight. So they will pump water inside. Pure water. So along with the water, what happens? All the flora and fauna in the ocean will be shifted to another country. Whether it is good or bad, that is different issue. So far, we are facing bad effects. So that is another issue. Supply chain standards. Then labor management. Then comes health and safety. That COVID has taught a lesson. Health and safety means you are working in an atmosphere. Why we are going started working at home? We thought our home is the most safest place, but it is a wrong concept. Whether you are mopping daily, whether you are using with the Dettol, flooring, everything, but your home is the most polluted area, because pollens are there everywhere behind a photograph. Every day you are not going to clean all those things. Your bookshelf. In energy efficient or green buildings, this never happens, because quality of air is good, healthy atmosphere is there, because of its peculiar height and design. So that is called health and safety. Safety also more in green buildings, we know it. Then human capital development. These are the socially how they are going to affect. This is, see, to measure all these things, we have tools. This is the most important thing. Everybody was in doubt how we will value this social impact. So digitalization has brought so many changes in our whole world. So information is in your fingertips. Only thing is, it is not mandatory to reveal, by the corporates the real facts. How they see corporates are socially committed, not environmentally. I will tell you very frankly, most of them, because they are renting a green building means they are socially committed. They are not bothered about the environmental part of renting because they are standing for what? Profit. So once they are using such buildings, started using, people will notice, oh, okay, this company is doing well. This company is committed. So false notion actually. So that is why we give more another emphasis in governance. Governance is corporate governance. Corruption, instability. These two factors always affect the governance. Then executive pay. High pay wages, and whereas lower paid people will get a portion of it. Board diversity. This is most important part. The board has got diverse type of people, those who are interested in ESG valuation, ESG part, social part, environment part. So without their commitment, you cannot go ahead with ESG in real estate or in business. Then they should have a business ethics, not only for stand for profit or anything profit making. There should be you should have some business ethics to follow. These are all set standard, while we are doing other topics. We know what is ethics. So these are the three aspects we are going to see one by one, and how to value it. That valuation part, that is measurement, measuring the impact. It is like measuring the impact. Environmentally is easy. You can have your own valuation techniques. While social and governance, you have to take it carefully. So that hopefully IVSC will set some standards for that one also soon. But we have some idea about it. Now, what exactly is ESG? ESG investing. This is also known as social responsible investment. Why? So the word it has come now. ESG investment means social responsible. We know social corporate funds, doing some kind of social activities. Similarly, ESG is also a socially responsible investment. Okay. Then, or you can say impact investing. Impacting what? All these two. All others, environmental, social, everything. So impact investing and sustainable development. Sustainable investing. So the sustainability is the main factor. Using energy, which is like windmills, solar energy. These are all not common now. Still, how many years we are, from 1980s, I think all the IAs, Indian Institute of Engineers, are behind this one. World Water Day, World Air Day. So these kind of things. So sustainability. I'm talking about sustainability. So there is zero waste. We are trying to achieve zero wastage or minimum wastage. As you know, in green buildings, we have water, recycling, waste management systems, etc. Okay. Second bullet, you see, ESG criteria have risen at the very top of the corporate and public agenda, as the percentage of companies integrating ESG factors into analysis and decision making has increased considerably. So now a stage has come. The decision making of a company or integrating ESG factors as given much importance. So far, we have not made it mandatory. This is the only thing. That is not a mandatory law as such in India. Though we are signatories, we are supposed to. But I heard in directive principles of the Indian Constitution. It's only a direction, not mandatory. So it should be a fundamental duty of companies. When it comes to fundamental rights and duties, you know it. What is the difference between right and duty? So this should be comes under, to my opinion, fundamental duties. So that everybody should follow it. Not 2 or 5 or 6 companies or corporates or real estate buildings. So in parallel, the COVID-19 has exposed the strength and weakness of companies with regard to ESG issues. This is an eye-opener, COVID-19. Delta plus variant as reported, no? Then only people realized we are all unsafe. Nobody is, nowhere to run. So no place to run. So COVID-19 has exposed an eye-opener for ESG factors. Okay. Then ESG reports provide a summary. What is an ESG report? They will prepare environmental, social, governance, same thing. They will. We have climate change issues. You know, even in Sahara now raining. We know that it is the largest desert in the world. It's raining now. Another aspect, South Africa was once a very flourishing country. Elite families were settled there. So from US, Canada, and European countries, one fine morning, their main supply of source of water is from a lake, large lake. One fine morning, the whole lake is drained out. We don't know still the reason. So water is not available, that area. Now it is the poorest nation. They don't have any means to live. Water, potable water is not available. They have to walk around. So only the natives are there. African natives are there. All other high family and families has left the place. So climate change is one of major aspect. Carbon emission. What happens to carbon emission? Greenhouse effect. Carbon emission footprints. You might have heard of this thing also. So that will increase the temperature in the earth atmosphere. So carbon emissions, how it is from the automobile, from whatever, coal factories or food oil factory, whatever be the reason, carbon emission is there. So how to control it? Then air and water quality. Air is highly polluted in some area. Highly. Because of automobiles, because of industries, air and water quality. Then comes deforestation. You know, Amazon forest. It is the main source of our oxygen, or what you call it. We are breathing. Then deforestation means you are more exposed to dangerous other gases. And we are finding all this in, you go to a pediatric department in any hospital. Nowadays, the diseases which our children, it starts from very early stage. Whereas in our generation, maybe after 60, after 65. But now you see, people are small kids are affected because of all these things, pollutants, toxicity in food. Farmers are using toxic pesticides or even toxic fertilizers. These are all how many? See, there is a like we call it SPC in engineering, soil bearing capacity. How long you can bear these things? The time is over, well over. For the next generation, to save the next generation, we should be committed for these things. Rainwater harvesting, well water recharging, everything you can start. Otherwise, our life is so miserable. Then energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is mainly, not from hydroelectric power or nuclear power plant or from coal power plant. These are all conventional energies. Energies like, from the beginning, we are saying solar, windmill, etc. You can use it. Even I have seen in some cities in India, the signals are, traffic signals, mainly working on solar panels. Some cities. So you have to adopt all those things. Then waste management, pollution, biodiversity, natural resources of conservation, etc. So in bracket, I have written environmental criteria show how companies interact with planet. Our planet. Only one planet where the life is discovered so far. A small planet in the whole university or whole universe. So that means environmental criteria, we need not destroy a life. See, life in this planet is precious. Can you imagine? So there are so many galaxies, so many other things, but so far we found only living organisms are in Earth only, our planet, mother planet. So we have a commitment to fulfill this thing. We are lucky enough to be born here, including issues such as carbon emission, recycling, plastic use. So of course, the plastic usage of plastics. Instead of that, we are using now biodegradable things. Plastic will last for thousands and thousands of years if you put in, the earth. It is not degradable. So usage of plastic, you have to be controlled. Then comes social, customer satisfaction, data protection. Nowadays, it's most precious, data. So data protection, privacy, gender and diversity, employee engagement, community relations, human rights and labor standards. These are socially social. This report should provide these things. Then the third one is governance, board composition. That is board of directors. That composition. That once you go through it, you will find somebody who is aware of these things. Then only it can be implemented. So that is why board composition has got so much importance. Then audit committee structure, how to audit. Bribery and corruption, you know it. Even though you are misusing some of the concepts, some voluntary organization give them marking, high mark, right? Even voluntary organization, I'm telling you, platinum grade, golden grade. We divide this green buildings or ranking system is there. So avoid these things because here it is not, because they are NGOs. Nowadays they are doing it. So bribery and corruption, executive compensation, lobbying, political contributions, whistleblowing policy. What is that? Corporate governance concerns leadership issues such as executive pay, internal controls, and shareholders' right. So, in an ESG report, it should be transparent. Then only we can develop a system. See, nothing should be hidden, no hidden agenda. Whatever you are using, whatever you are attained, as it is, you can reveal it. The transparency factor is not there now. So that is why governance of corporates are given much importance. Now, what is the relevance now? So it provides a strategy to address these three factors: environmental, social, and governance. Related non-financial, you see the sentence, non-financial parameters in essence. These are all non-financial. Social impact, what non-financial impact is? Non-financial parameters recognizing financial relevance. Once you apply it, there can be more value for your business. So that means relevance on various non-financial elements which impact business in various ways. So that is number one point. Number two, investment in real estate has badly affected by pandemic. You know it. I heard that in Mumbai, 1.5 to 2 lakhs of flats were lying unsold during COVID pandemic era. Still, it is there. Every city has got unsold flats, unsold apartments. So, investment in real estate has badly affected by pandemic and climate-related disruptions, along with growing recognition of social inequality. That factor is there. Of course, in India, we are facing it, social inequality, which prompted investors to adopt a more robust approach to sustainability-related risk. Subsequently, ESG has emerged as a new paradigm. So, this pandemic plus climate-related disruptions, even natural man-made calamities. You may be remembering 2020 drone attacks in Saudi Arabia. Even that is changed the balance of financial powers. We also have some kind of, in US, you may be remembering in Trump era when Floyd has killed, no? That unrest is still reverberating in US because the way they are handled, the policemen handled a black man. So these kind of things, definitely these are all going to affect totally. In totality, ESG expert should know what is going around your planet or in your place, internationally, everything, locally. So that kind of knowledge we have to attain for valuation purpose also. You can write all these things for valuation report of ESG in future. I'm not telling immediately. Okay. Then comes third one, environmental, social, and governance. See, there are people coming late because to be frank with you, I always say 2 hours CEP is not that important. Okay, it is important to complete your code, to maintain your certificate of practice. You need 16 hours or 48 hours in 3 years. But more than that, CEPs you have to attend because of to learn further. Because we are spending maybe 1 month to prepare a ESG. Not by, these are all not from any of this thing. We have to make researches, papers, journals. So we are putting so much effort on it. Right? As I always admire Mr. Rajendra Kumar, that he is old enough, but he is attending He passed the IBB exam, and he passionately pursue his knowledge acquire, that kind of thing. So CEP points, of course, we need it. Try to see. Some of the people has come now, just now, after half an hour. Okay, it's not tendency, because they need only CEP. I'm very sorry to say this. Very, very sorry to say this. Those who are attending here maybe come late. Maybe you have got your own reason also. I agree that. Apologies for that. Apology. But generally, there is a tendency to attend CEP coming late. This are all, which is not, part of our learning or acquiring more knowledge on the subject. Because if they miss all the other three, slides, they cannot follow this. This is the thing. Okay, properly. Anyway, I am repeating the slides. Same thing. It will be there. So, environmental, social, and governance refers to the method of evaluating companies based on their commitment to sustainability. So, commitment to sustainability. The word sustainability is very important. It includes factors like contribution or contributions made by the company to combat global warming, reducing carbon emissions, protection of human rights, adherence to health and safety of workers, and like. See, if I take this class 3 years ago, nobody will listen. Nobody will be there. I know it. Now it has come an emergency. It is a matter of existence of human beings. So you have to take interest. You have to be committed. And you have to learn the subject to be a successful valuer also. That comes last. As far as existence is in danger, then everything is, lost. So, to combat global warming, reducing carbon emissions, protect human rights, adherence to health and safety of workers, and like. Okay. So, these are the relevance of ESG nowadays. We'll go to the next one. This is not that, okay, anyway, we'll see. Financial discipline and ESG investments. We are not at the stage of explaining this, but anyhow, we should know basics. While companies track and measure how certain investments impact their overall ESG ratings, ESG ratings are done by voluntary organizations. So overall ESG rating or performance, and many often fail to effectively take the further step to estimate, then examine how such investment translate to return of investment, ROI, return of investment, ROI in short form. So why? Because still people are not sure about what will be my return. So what happens in long run? If they are not how to translate this to their ROI, that is the question. Where the valuers has got a role, they should teach them. See, if you are using a recycled water for gardening or any other fertilizer, agriculture purpose, that wastage, it has got some value. If your service utility bill is less, how much? Then you convert it, capitalize it. Those things, kind of things, income. So that return, it is a ROI. Rate of that is return on investment, whatever invested. Meanwhile, I would like to say, as such, now there is in real estate, I will tell you, 2% increase in initial cost for a ESG compliance building, 2%. But whereas you take the life cycle of the building, you are saving almost 30%. So even if the initial expense is bit more than what we expect, so that will be taken into account, and your valuation report and your as a valuer, most prestigious profession now, you can teach them, make aware of common people. See, technology develops only when common people comes to know about it. What is about it? For example, I will tell you, mobile phones. Usually, how fast it has spread, mobile phones, various models. TV, I think it is in Rajiv Gandhi. TV has come, black and white. All of a sudden, now you see. So when the society needs the technology, then only it will be developed. Not from the topmost. The triangle should be started from the base. So that is common people. So make them understand first, awareness. We have doing awareness campaigns. Then only they will realize why this COVID has come. We are always putting this example, COVID-19 or climate change. They are also feeling. In my state, there were 3 consecutive floods. 3 consecutive floods for last year. How come? We never witnessed a flood, such a flood, for 100 years. Now, 3 consecutive years, we are under threat. If the rain comes, gone. Flooding startups. I think some of the people from my state is here. They know better. To ensure appropriate financial discipline, the most efficient allocation of capital, a more analytical framework is necessary to formulate the value assessment of ESG investments. How such investments have resulted in value creation? Value creation. So, in financial discipline and the most efficient allocation of capital, you are allocating capital for various heads, as you know. So, when you are investing in ESG allocation, what will be the value you extra created for the company or the real estate or business? That is very important. So again, the role of valuers are the not only engineers. Engineers, as an engineer, you can design it or you can implement a project. But how to measure the value creation or whatever the value created by allocating ESG fund, that you have to teach them. In long run, they are going to get this much ROI, return on investment. So that kind of activities we start now. We stick with this. My personal opinion is, most of you, whenever you see ESG, I think I'm the one of the person who started this class ESG. Then IAA started. I have started this class from various, whenever IVS standards declare something, I make a presentation. So that, you can also do that. Stick with what is interesting you. As far as I am concerned, ESG is one of the most important area we have to take into account. Of course, you may be getting high professional fee in other field. Even though this is unavoidable situation has come now, you should realize the gravity of the situation at least by now. So this is called the financial discipline and capital allocation in ESG investments. Importance of it, all those things. Okay. Now, it's a very simple one. Understanding the E in ESG. We are already explained. Environmental portion of ESG considers how a company managing the physical environment. Physical environment of the building, inside the building or outside the building or outside the property, whatever, or business. So that is environment. It takes into account of a company's utilization of natural resources. Whether the company is using natural resources and the effect of their operation on the environment. Deforestation, for example, or coal mining, whatever, that are natural resources, affect their operation on the environment. How it is going to impact the environment, we should know, both in their direct operation and across their supply chain. This is the importance in E of ESG. Companies that disregard the effort of their policies and practices on the environment may be exposed to higher levels of financial risk. Now comes the financial risk part. Now onwards, if you are not disregard these policies and practices, the company's financial risk is more. Why? Can I say? Why? Shareholders, they will withdraw. Why I should take shares of this company? They don't have any commitment to the planet. They don't, okay, now they are making profit, maybe giving high debentures to the bond holders or anything. But at the same time, you know that it is going to perish. So that is called financial risk. Financial risk is there if you disregard this issue. Now see, in the bracket, banks are under rising regulatory, banks are regulated, well regulated, and commercial pressure to protect themselves from the impact of climate change and to align with the global sustainability agenda. It's already there, RBI circular is there. So I think it may start from your financial institutions, because public is directly involved in it. Common man, they are directly involved with banks and financial institutions, so they can understand. So the circular says you have to take into account of these kind of things. While not only for banks, those banks which is financing some projects, no, as a primary security, they will take the land, then they will engage somebody to build the green, ESG compliance. So there is going to be the financial, financing part of a project is going to be affected by this, because traditional construction almost concrete and steel. Sometimes we call it concrete jungles. They are emitting so much temperature. So in order to reduce that, they are going to see, changes may happen, may take some time, but when it comes to your existence, it may happen very fast. Okay. That is the thing. Now the last point, climate change adds an extra layer of environmental risk. The global regulatory response to the threat of environmental risk has been mixed. Banking regulators around the world now formalizing new rules for climate risk management. So climate risk management is another part, apart from the financial risk which I explained. So they are going to formalize it. So this is about E, the word alphabet E in ESG. We'll see what it says. The manner in which a company manages its relationship with its workforce, the society in which it operates, and the political environment is an essential factor for ESG. So that is how S is going to be affected. So company has got a social commitment, relationship with the workforce as well as society and political environment. So that is why the social aspect of sustainable investing is always preferred. Because the common man is going to identify the issue first. If once they are aware of it, of course they will leave it. You know, in COVID era, what is happening in Europe and all. A number of social factors can affect a company's financial performance, ranging from short to long-term challenges. So there may be short-term challenges are there. Long-term challenges will also be there. Because I will tell you long-term. For example, if you are using a sustainable material for a particular element of a building, as such, how we are approaching cost approach, we are giving a particular building, whether it is load bearing or temporary shed or RCC frame, age factor to get the depreciation. Whereas here you have to take elements, various elements used separately. Because, for example, plaster of Paris or gypsum may last for 10 or 12 years. You cannot take it to 60 years or 80 years. So that kind of adjustment you have to make. Each elements of a building. Then comes social factor to consider in sustainable investing include a company's strength and weakness in dealing with social trends, labor, politics. A focus on these topics can increase profits and corporate responsibility. It's a simple sentence. It's a truth also. Now the last one is social factors just don't depend on how customers will judge a company's behavior. It's a factor, but just don't depend on how consumers will judge a company. Geopolitical events also fall under social category. That is geopolitical. Here the same example I have. See, conflicts like this can prevent companies from producing, distributing their products. A textbook case of this was September 2200 drone attack in oil factory of Saudi Arabia. Just Google it and you will find out what happened. Really happened. It is out of our scope of this class. This is a geopolitical event. As I said, Floyd case and drone attack on Saudi Arabia. These are all affected geopolitically. Okay. Now this is S. Now we'll go to G. Understanding the G in the ESG. The G ESG refers to the governance factor of decision making. So they are the people who are going to decision making project or business. From sovereign policy making to distribution of rights and responsibility among different participants, including board of directors, managers, shareholders, and stakeholders. So that is called decision making, not by sovereign means, you know it. Sovereign republic. Sovereign means free. I mean, they are titled policy making to distribution to all others also. Poor corporate governance practices have stood at the core of some of the biggest corporate scandals. You know it, Volkswagen case. That emission test scandal, that also you can Google. It's a very interesting case. Volkswagen emission test scandal. That particular vehicle. Intentionally, they programmed turbocharged direct injection (TDI). Turbocharged, we need not go in that detail. Diesel engines to activate their emission controls. That is one example. It's a program. Internally, they have done it. So that the result, whenever you do a pollution test, result will be always positive. So the values are high. Then Facebook misuse of data. That also come into light recently. Facebook misuse of data and other recent incidents have caused significant financial damage to these companies. Once it is, your integrity or your to keep the data safe, to keep the this kind of emission test of Volkswagen, that will reduce the customer loyalty. Really, it will be they will face substantial amount of customers. So these are the two examples I have given. There are so many other examples also. In the face of companies' missteps of expanding awareness of global diversity and income inequality, corporate governance is a core component of ESG. So social inequality. Whenever social income inequality, all those things is taken care of corporate governance. The last point, governance factors indicate the rules and procedures for countries and corporations. Allow investors to screen for appropriate governance practice as they would for environmental and social factors. They are forced to do this, no doubt. This is what my reading. So some people cannot, do the things as they like. Governance part. They have to look after other things, E and S. So it is interrelated, environmental, social, and governance. So let's see the rest. Now let's see what is ESG in Indian real estate. The market in India become more stringent and companies need to comply ESG related disclosures. SEBI has formulated business responsibility and sustainability. So this is of course SEBI, but number of corporates when you compare is hardly very less in the compliance part. Okay, they are given the guidelines and all. SEBI is the Securities and Exchange Board of India that has formulated business responsibility and sustainability. Based on finding of a new study of ESG, which compares disclosure of only 160 Indian companies against those other countries with similar coverage. Indian companies' average transparency rating is 29%. So transparency part of Indian companies is only 29% in ESG issues. But even though it is higher than 26% of Refinitiv ESG, okay, in US. Only 8% of Indian firms have a policy on ESG relaxed executive compensation, much lower than the border drivers of 25%. In the world, it is 25%, it is only 8%. But compensation. You can imagine if Bhopal tragedy happens now. In MP, somebody will be there. Madhya Pradesh, Bhopal tragedy. What will happen if it is? What is his name? That managing director? He won't escape to another country. Because we are now aware of industrial disasters, Chernobyl, Bhopal gas tragedy, all those things. So when a time comes, then only, that's what I'm saying, if the common people are aware of it, then things will be different. Against a backdrop of global public health crisis, ensuring recession, that pandemic, I'm talking about pandemic now. Widespread political unrest was there. So many see in countries except India, it was not that much. In European countries and US, the control of masking, or some people say these vaccines are not here. We won't take the vaccine campaign. No vaccine. So that kind of political unrest is witnessed all over the world during the pandemic era. And an unprecedented rise in market demand for ESG investment. See, they are also pushing for ESG environment in office, their corporate offices. This trend only expected to continue as the supply side respond. Supply side, who should respond? Supply side, corporate offices or the business. They have to increase the supply for the increased demand. So that is the real situation in India as of now. Reason for more emphasis on ESG in Indian context. In Indian context, we are all see, particularly in India, we need to know what is happening. Though we are following international valuation standards, we are competing with international values, and we have got a pretty good feedback also for Indian values are good in such studies. Okay, so but we should realize what is happening in here also. Global studies have shown that building contribute over 30% of global green gas emissions. So 30% comes from buildings and consumes 2/5 of world's energy. India consumes 2/5 of world's energy. The construction industry in India accounts for as much as 22% of total emissions, pollutants. And it's one of the largest consumers of natural resources. We cut the trees, we cut whatever you want, you can do in India. Such situation was there. Thus, in the country fight against climate change, the real estate sector has immense potential to reduce the emissions through sustainable practices of encompassing from the design itself, planning itself, construction and operations. With close to 70% of India's 2030 urban infrastructure yet to be built. We are far behind for infrastructures, 70% of urban infrastructure. So that may be completed by 2030, yet to build. The real estate industry has a huge opportunity to save embodied carbon emissions and also positively impact close to 250 ancillary industries. So positively impact 250 ancillary industries also, like cement, steel, timber, etc., which depend on it. Second point is, there is increasing awareness of the real estate industry has the potential to create a social impact, not only by adopting more sustainable or greener practices, but also in form of rehabilitation of public spaces, affordable housing projects. Yes, we have an affordable housing project Yojana. Now, people are not looking for now, the flats which is very high value, luxury and all. They know the futility of it. It is a futile effort when a pandemic like this comes. So affordable houses should be more in India for all, not only for poor. Try to for middle class also, upper middle class, all of them. So affordable housing projects, social care centers, other projects that have a positive impact on community. So this is how in India social factor is influenced. Okay. Now ESG reporting landscaping is evolving in India. So let's go through this. The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has helped to reach a widespread awareness of the fact that the actions of pertaining environment, the ESG issues cannot be delayed further. And a strong sustainability implementation is the only way forward to the new normal. You know this word, new normal. We are adapting a new normal lifestyle after this pandemic. The sharp focus on ESG and development of ESG reporting framework is a consequence of need for building back better business ecosystem and bringing in resilience of our future. Organizations are expected to align their sustainability involvements with leading ESG reporting standards, integrate ESG analytics to provide a complete picture of the organizational value creation to investors and other stakeholders via ESG sustainability report. The same thing which we have already explained. Now the task force on climate-related financial disclosures. This simply the short form TCFD, working worldwide. That is Ajay Shukla's entry. Where is come after 1 hour. The Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, TCFD. Recommendations. Provide companies with a comprehensive framework to report the impact of climate risk opportunities systematically, making it easier for investors to analyze a company's potential financial impact due to climate change. Despite the importance of this information to investors, recent EY is also a company, largest professional service network. Yes, somebody has raised Mr. Ajay Shukla. You raised your hand. You can unmute if you can. Yes, Anderson, Peter Anderson. Yes.
By mistake, he has done, sir. I think by mistake he has done.
Oh, okay. Anderson.
You please
yes.
continue.
Yeah, but somebody has returned that name Anderson.
That is the name of
Surendra. Yeah, Bhopal, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Union Carbide.
Still, we are using Everready battery. It is their product. Still in India, we are using it. Okay. Well, anyway, good thing. So EY is also the largest professional service network in the world. It is short form is EY, the company's name. Research found that responsiveness to recommendation differs significantly between countries and sectors. This mainly depends on transparency factor. Responsiveness differs significantly, even countries or even the sectors. So, as far as ESG is concerned, our implementation is concerned, there should be a transparent method which will be attained very soon. Don't worry. So what is shaping the post-COVID scenario? So now we have reached a stage where we need to know what is post-COVID pandemic. It's acted a strong trigger to reshape global economics, of course, how business operates. By exposing the fragility of the current business and economic models, it has forced the world to hit the reset button to think. Future proofing of business by enhancing business resilience is what business are looking at presently. Okay. If you look at the top 5 global risks, take top 5. 1, 2, in x-axis or whatever, it is given 1, 2, 5, 1 to 5. Okay, in the diagram, schematic diagram. That is depicted by World Economic Forum. The top 5 risks have shifted from economic focus to environmental and society focus. This is the main aspect. Before in World Economic Forum, the word itself is Economic Forum. It is shifted from economic focus to environmental and societal focus. You see, extreme weather, it's a concern. These are all markings, type of risk. Blue is economic, green is environmental, red is societal, Geopolitical is again some green color. And technological, that violet or pink, whatever. So you see that it is going to be extreme weather is the first concern. Extreme weather. Climate action failure. We are failed in climate control. Human environmental damage is already created. Infectious disease, of course, we know it. Biodiversity loss. We are losing biodiversity. So before it was some other scale in as far as World Economic Forum is concerned. Now they are also shifting the focus to these things. Otherwise, the whole economy will collapse. So there is no meaning that calling them World Economic Forum. So they also shifted their concern to extreme weather, climate action failure, human environmental damage, infectious disease, and biodiversity losses. Okay. So this is just a global risk in terms of likelihood. So don't give much importance to my the schematic diagrams, but you will get some idea. That's all. Now, how ESG create value? As a valuer, our concern is how ESG creates value. Every business is deeply interlinked with environmental ESG. Okay, every business concerns thereby enhancing the property value. This will definitely enhance your property value. Market value will be higher. But how to measure it? That is the only question mark in front of us. Okay. As I told you, this will be solved soon. Environmental criteria, of course, we know, includes energy in your company, property consumes, the waste in discharge, the resources it needs. Okay. The resources it needs and the consequence for living beings as a result. It includes carbon emissions and climate change. So environmental part is a bit easier for you. Whereas social criteria focuses the relationship of the company has reputation it fosters with people. That is an intangible one. Here it is intangible. You can call it intangible. Tangible and intangible. So this part is actually an intangible one. That is reputation it fosters with people at institutions in communities where they do the business. S includes labor relation, diversity and inclusion. Every company operates with broader, diverse society. Every company. So how they foster their relationship is the main concern. What is social impact? That 5 or 6 factors: human rights, equality, all those things. Then comes governance. So it is internal system of practice. Internal system of practice of what? Company. Make effective decisions, comply with the law, meet the needs of external stakeholders. Every company which itself is a legal creation requires, if it is legal creation, illegally you can't do anything. Legal creation requires governance. Okay. This is how the value is going to affect the whole ESG valuation system, or rather measuring the value. There's a simple schematic model. They use renewable sources, natural resources. It is higher. Non-renewable, it is going down as far as raw material is concerned. Then process and use waste management. That is environmental load and concentration. It goes up as accumulating substance. Goes down when degradable substance is used. Degradable, biodegradable. Then life cycle, quality of life. So this time axis sustainability. Okay, this is a short schematic representation of how these items in excess, raw materials, process, end use, wastage management, life cycle, etc., is affecting sustainability. Okay, these are the separate 3 graphs: 1, 2, 3. I will share it with you, of course. This, I don't mind to share. Methods evolving for valuation. So there are so many methods now proposed, out of which some are very useful, some are still we have to learn. Okay, let us see. It's an income approach, basically, using undiscounted cash flow analysis. I hope you are aware of DCF method in particular area. But instead of using the whole entity's cash flow in this method, we will isolate cash flows that we can prove are driven by specific ESG factors. Cash flow due to the specific ESG factors. Usually, this is used for an intangible asset that is main driver of the company valuation. So that has got its own importance. Ajay Shukla, your hand is raised. If you want, you can ask me any question.
He is not able to lower his hand. He has, by mistake, he has raised his hand, but I just phone called him.
Achha. I will lower the hand. Okay. So second one, replacement cost method, less obsolescence. This is more for land and building people can understand. Replacement cost method, less obsolescence, can be used for intangible asset valuation. We are doing intangible value asset like this. Okay, by calculating replacement cost of intangible asset if it were brand new, and then applying obsolescence factor unique to the intangible asset. How we are finding out goodwill? For example, I will tell you by comparables, one with goodwill and one without goodwill. The difference is the percentage of goodwill. For example, you are running a cinema theater and your friend is also somebody also running the same kind of cinema theater in a big shopping mall. Same facility, same food, same sound system, same seating arrangement, everything. And same film also. But after 1 week, they change. One of them will change the film because they don't have much audience. Whereas the other theater continues to for 1 month. Why? Why it has happened? Because people prefer that one. Because of management aspect, customer satisfaction, all those things. It will come under goodwill portion. That is how we calculate goodwill for a cinema theater or anything as a land and building value. So here it is also, you can do that. Now, a third approach, with and without, same thing. With or without. Or differential income model, DIM. It is called DIM method. DIM. With the technique, we value the company and then revalue it with any and all ESG related factors removed. The difference in fair value equates to the fair value of the ESG program. So first you remove, value as it is, then remove the ESG factors. The difference is called ESG program, that value of ESG program. That is how another method is proposed, DIM. That is called different income model. Now, so many others are there. Valuation work combined with ESG might be relatively new, but the technique and tools required to perform ESG valuation already exist. Both public and private companies can clearly state their various ESG programs, policies, investment and strategies using SASB, Sustainability Accounting Standard Board framework. Advance in data science supported by widespread digitization of information make it far easier today to measure just about anything with the right effort and process. So we are in a position, we have the tools, we need the approval. You can privately do that, but regulatory mechanism is not in place. So we are expecting that one soon. So if you want to do an ESG thing, you can adopt any of this method. But what we are looking for is a statutory method. Like in IVSC standards, approaches, basis of values. So some standards should be specified. Advances in data, okay, that's all. An intangible asset valuation concept says that MP, this is also a typical MP and DM should be applied a unique ESG. These are all methods which is used for intangible assets. ESG is mainly a part of it. So I think social and governance part, it is intangible. Environmental factors, you can, in a way, you can value yourself. I told you the elements of different building you can take into account and value it. There are two aspects you have to remember. Service utility bills reduction, you have to consider. Then elements itself, recyclable, if it is, say, recycled, suppose you want to change something. So we will replace it, but with some cost. There are people who are ready to take your older one, old element. So you will get some amount from this and you are replacing with a new one. So that difference is there. So that is why I am telling in life cycle, we have to see the whole life cycle. How many times you are replacing or what is the benefit you are getting. So that is 30% more. That's why approximately I am telling you. 30% more value will be attainable as such. So this is total value approach. EY, the same company, has developed the total value approach to address this need, measure the value created by company. The value is related to shares, with its stakeholders and broader impact of the company and society at large. A total value analysis provides insights to the monetized impacts of outcomes. Okay, fine. Let's see. Economic. So this is positive side value. Value is in positive side this much. And there is negative side also. From this negative side only the social aspect started as positive. Then again some negative factors. Then from that negative factor you start again positive. That is environmental. So finally, see, for environmental you are in negative side much more than positive side. So, okay. So finally the total value created will be that yellow color. It's just an example I am telling you. This is the total value created. You see, this is the peak. Then you have come down to here. Okay, don't stop it there. Then you start social from the same level, goes up to here, then come down here. Again, positive side goes up, negative side. So here, we started from here, right? This is equal to this. In total. Okay. Then how sustainability and value is related. Every real estate asset owner, investor, stakeholder must now recognize they have a clear fiduciary duty to understand and actively manage environment. Most important part. Environmental, social, and governance, ESG. And climate related risk as a routine component of their business. Thinking, practicing, and managing process. So this is not everybody's duty. Not only real estate owner, investor is also aware of it. Stakeholders. Stakeholders are who? The society. So everybody should be aware of these things. Sustainability and value. Failure to address this risk will not only hinder global efforts. See, if somebody fails, some society fails, it will hinder the global efforts. It's important, it will, the global effort will be affected. And the climate change, but also hurt long-term returns. Returns also affected, long-term. Undermine economic sustainability and reduce the caliber of infrastructure passed out of future generations. So you are giving it for future generation. So ESG criteria, same as we have learned, environmental, social, and governance, same thing. We have seen the much more points are there. So you can go through it. Okay. Let's see the next thing. Impact of ESG. Paying attention to environmental, social, governance concerns does not compromise return, rather the opposite. This is share of positive findings, 63%, share of negative findings are 8% only. Just some studies, result of 200 studies, more than. Impact of ESG proposition of equality terms. Equity terms. So share of positive things are 63 and share of negative findings are 8 only. So this is the impact. So just to whatever we explained in Indian context, so same thing is applicable here also. Approach to ranking, there is a ranking system that we know now, 100-point scale. A higher ranking expresses our view that entity is more likely to be sustainable. Higher rank. Based on active management of ESG related risk and opportunities. Relatively strong governance. And the entity ability to adapt, to change and take advantage of long-term disruptive opportunities. So there is everything is there in that circle: supply chain, environment. Starting from ESG ratings, there are 3: environmental, social, and governance. Then comes biodiversity, climate pollution, water security. Then comes customer responsibility, health safety, human rights, standards. So you are ranking this one. You will give certain points. Then take total. This is the ranking system for each and every points. You can add it. See, you can add these things. You can give the points for this: environmental, social, and governance. Energy use less. How much less? They have put some benchmark. So if it is more than that benchmark, means you are getting more mark. That is how the ranking system works in valuation. So ESG provide building blocks, factors. This is the same which I have explained: environmental, greenhouse gas emissions. See, okay, take this. This is our environmental aspect: water use, land use, waste pollution, waste and pollution, greenhouse. And social, workforce diversity, safety management, customer engagement, communities. And in governance, Structure and offset. Codes and values. Transparency of reporting. Cyber risk and systems. These are all corporate concepts. Governance. Corporate governance concepts. Okay. Environmental factor and green that we have already explained. There are plenty of new buildings materials have developed. To get better knowledge as engineers, you can visit some exhibitions or expos conducted by builders or who is into the business. So you will be updated with your knowledge of green concept. What are the materials and construction techniques also. So there are plenty of new building materials have developed. Every day, you see the market is changing. So take care of that one. The combination of materials that make up the building, elements are also changed accordingly in order to improve the valuation of similar structures. The valuer need to thorough with the innovative construction materials and techniques. Without knowing this, how can we proceed? So a value should be updated. He should update his learning capacity, learning. Not only that, that's why I told CEPs are in a way okay, good, but at the same time, you have to enhance your knowledge in various methods available. All are around you. Everything is in the market. Market is supreme. So you will get everything from the market, whatever you need for a valuation purpose. So cost, everything, construction material cost, techniques. Cost-effective analysis as well as physical effectiveness of these methods shall be developed for valuation. See, there is a cost-effective analysis. Instead of buying 100 rupees material, you may achieve the same goal with 10 rupees. So that is called cost effectiveness. This is the definition of a civil engineer also. When a common man spends 100 rupees, a civil engineer will spend only 1 rupee. Because anybody can make a bridge, pouring cement, concrete, steel, whatever they get in their hand. But while you design it, you are actually decreasing the price. Got my point. See, anybody can construct it. No, it's not a bridge actually. They are putting whatever available material and a binding material or whatever way. But an engineer will do it for 1 rupee by proper design. Same is the case of value. Value has to measure it. This is value stuff. How much you saved. So that is the other thing. Now comes factors selecting materials. First of all, local availability, because you have to reduce transportation cost. Local availability of materials. Then proportion of recycled and waste material used. So most of the materials, even cement, steel, you can recycle. There are companies now started extracting aggregate from the cement, concrete. That aggregate, why don't you use it? Instead of quarrying your mother earth, we still using it for landfill. You will put everything in a landfill, make it level land. So there are people who buy, purchase, even steel, slags are. Maybe they may use it in road construction or whatever. That is second point. Rapidly renewable materials are. Very rapidly they can renew it. Impacting energy efficiency of buildings. recyclability of materials, whether it is possible to recycle. Durability, how long it will last. The longer it lasts, your recycling is less. Cost is bit differences. Then environmental impact finally. It's a paper cutting. India will have 1 lakh green buildings in 2025. That's our prediction. Hopefully, we will achieve it. Because without which we cannot survive in a society. So we are in dire need of these kind of things. Now, physical performance. The function of buildings due to technological advancement. Spelling is wrong, sorry. It is technological advancement has expanded in all the essential materials, elements, and systems. The important fact to be observed here is the value of building should be evaluated in terms of performance, not function. So now we are shifting, another shift. The value of the building should be evaluated in terms of performance. Even though performance is a word used for, which is having some kind of this thing. Building performance means how the building is going to perform as far as ESG concepts are incorporated, not function. Functional, this thing is not good. For example, this is the abrasion resistance of the floor of an apartment living room should be evaluated for floor finish only. Why? Impact sound. Impact sound insulation should be evaluated the entire floor area. So that impact sound is a performance. Okay. Whereas floor finish is only a function. This is a difference. Performance and this impact. So you are valuing for the impact it creates. So an example may happen or may not happen. That is different case. Okay. So situation to situation, you are the judgment. You have to make. You are the judge. You have to make the judgment properly for every kind of situation. Okay. So this is life cycle cost. It is required to consider the cost of incurred at the construction and maintenance phases for optimizing the overall cost of a building. That is called life cycle cost. The performance of building gradually depreciates due to various factors such as climate and physical environment. Okay, no problem. Hence, the maintenance cycle are repeated. Here, the maintenance cycle is repeated. Anyway, it is going to depreciate a bit, or in long run, it may depreciate salvage value. Okay, in that case, also the maintenance cycle you can manage. That is cyclically until the life of the building is completed, until the whole life of the building is completed. So we are using elements cycle. That life cycle includes only elements, particular elements in the building, which you are using for ESG. So actually those who are good in writing reports, they have got good chance because you are not giving a particular building as we are doing now. You are doing separately each and every aspect. So it will be an elaborate one. Get your fees, good fees. That's all. As far as fees is concerned, because it's not that easy to making a report of ESG impact. So many items are there. Okay. As the availability and acceptability among customers grow, various kinds of building materials are developed. the physical performance value and the LCC here means life cycle cost. LCC, life cycle cost, are substituted in cost effectiveness analysis model. The time required to make the optimal choice of the building elements can be reduced. This is the thing. Optimal choice. What is optimal choice? Maybe as I told you for one example, 100 rupees material is there. Sometimes 10 rupee material is there. In case the 10 rupee material is not up to the your optimal choice, or it won't give you optimal one, go for 25 rupees. Then you will get more or less okay, optimal use. That is your optimal choice of an engineer. Okay, the time required to make optimal choice of the building elements can be reduced. Then this schematic diagram you can learn yourself. Comparative life cycle cost study of green buildings. Initial cost of a green building is 29% higher. Initial construction cost. Green buildings are 17% cheaper than that of traditional building in long run. This is simple cases nowadays happening. The operation and maintenance of green building result in 23 and 15 overall saving. So saving everything, if you consider all these things in a life cycle of a building, you will be getting a pretty good profit. Plus, this is in the case of building. If it is a business, the scenario is different. You will get a good profit margin also, financial, as far as finance side is concerned. This is for L&B. Like it may change actually, because nowadays the materials are not available in certain places. That is why it is cost is so high. You can reduce this 29 to even 20-15%, and this can be increased also. Which one? Green building are 70% cheaper. So this kind of things can do by as and when it is required. It's a guideline only. Futuristic view. By 2025, about 50% of world population, 4.6 billion people. 8% means 4.6 billion. India now has got 1.4 billion. Around 1.4 billion. So 58% of world population, 4.6 billion. Around 8 in between 800 and 900, I think. 8 billion or 9 billion people are there. 8.5, you can say. Will live in urban areas by job, population migration. So they will live in urban areas. With this rate reaching 80% in developed countries already. Urbanization poses considerable challenges, including overpopulation, climate change, environmental quality, access to energy, etc. Urban planning must reassess how to sustain the supply of the population growth. When population growth increases, that how to reassess the sustainability factor with basic service at an affordable cost. Urban areas represents 10% of the Earth land mass. These are all good, statistics which I have received from so many other sources. 10% of your Earth landmass is urbanized. You know, 75% or 90% is water, out of which 10% Earth mass is now urbanized. A proportion which continues to rise. This is going to be rise. Major metropolitan areas consume approximately 65% of primary energy. So, major metropolitan areas, 65%. So, rural India, you can imagine the rest 35% of energy. And count for 70% of greenhouse gases emission. this 65% of energy requirement counts for 70% of greenhouse. What is greenhouse gases? You know, methane, carbon dioxide, etc. Mainly to supply energy for lighting, heating, cooling, transport. An additional challenge awaits urban areas. One more challenge. According to a recent WHO report, 92% of urban populations lack clean air to breathe. No air, clean air. Because of, as I said, automobile pollution, industries, man-made calamities, deforestation, everything is concluded. No clean air is available. What is the then? Why we are here in the this planet? If you don't have the right to breathe your clean air or potable water, who is destroying? Find out. Who is destroying this? Our right to breathe, right to drink water. It's our duty to find out and take measures. So there is a question in MEP classes. I remember still. Now I know the importance. Valuer is, what is that question? Valuer is committed to whom? Or a dash. Client, RP, bank, society. There are 4 choices, out of which the valuer is committed to society is the right answer. That time we learned. We are all committed to the society, first of all. So see the situation, 92% of urban population, 92, almost 100% of the urbanized population lack pure air. Then what is the use? Lack of clean air is not there. Cities tomorrow must be configured to meet these 2 major challenges: climate change and worsening air quality. Cities will be designed, or town planners will decide, without compulsion, without bribery, without corruption. They have to choose now these 2 major challenges. Climate change, definitely going to affect you. I have told you the Cape Town experience. Now the second, I don't know, I can reveal the name here. So is the anybody from Karnataka here? Karnataka? The South Indian state, Karnataka. It is Bangalore. They are going to face acute water shortage in near future. That is what WHO says. So the cities of tomorrow must be configured to meet these 2 major climate and worsening air quality. Okay. How the ESG concept becomes significant? Same thing. You can go through it because our time valuation is at the nucleus of every investor decision. These are all you learn. So how to measure the environmental category E of ESG can be quantified. Can be quantified means measurable. Because of methane, carbon dioxide emissions, waste, water pollution, etc., can be measured. Volume, how much volume? You can measure it. There are technologies available. So it is not that much big issue. Companies are already reporting how much they have measurably cut their GHG, that is greenhouse gases emission. And it is becoming more as it is, that is wrong, as it is becoming more common. But how do you measure S and G components of ESG? As I told. Why is this hard to? We have some good news. These things are not hard to measure, actually. But S and G. And we owe the solution to big data revolution that has been occurred sometimes quietly over past several years. So we should know what is big data. It is about counting using more comprehensive and sophisticated techniques through advance in information system. Information depends on information system, transparent information system. Digitalization plays a key role. We live in an age where vast swaths of information have been digitized. Everything can be digitized now. In our generation, it is difficult to digest. Even they can digitize SNG rather than stored as paper. Digitization remains that counting can be done more quickly than human brain. They can get the result quickly, efficiently, accurately. As long as the critical data needed to evaluate not just categories, but the social and governance categories as well is accessible, then it can be processed and analyzed. Once you get the data, you can process your own way and analyze it. The content, that much of this information already exists inside companies today. Some companies have this kind of things, but has not been organized from an ESG perspective yet. They have this system, not used for ESG, that's all. So you can implement the same thing for ESG, this information system or digitized form of platform, this kind of things. So that tool is with us already. Now we'll see the global standard setters. There are RICS global standards, and IVSC, which is followed by our RVOs. So RICS says the relevance and significance of sustainability and environmental matters should be from an integral part of valuation approach. RICS has already announced sustainability and environmental matters should form an integral part of valuation approach, and reasoning support the reported figure. That is called RICS. RICS has already declared it. Now we'll see what is IVSC says. The guidance does not make policy recommendation. Still, policy recommendation is lacking. It will soon come because in IVSC there are step-by-step method. Their approach is different. So all of a sudden they won't give you a method. Conferences, various countries, then discussion, panels are there, experts are there. Finally, we will get it. The guidance policy recommendation of estimate future direction of ESG sustainability, but instead focus on delivery of valuation in current markets. The guidance will be reviewed and updated on a highly responsive way, reflecting pending developments in international valuation standards and wider investment and regulatory framework globally. So once it is released, they are giving us a mandatory. IVSC is very much using the word even must, shall, may. All this has got its own meaning. So IVSC is going to give us a tool. Also contain must, shall, and may. What is must? You must do it. What is shall? You are not going to follow the must way. So you can divert slightly and you report it. Okay, I had diverted from this because of this. And may is you can change, but you should have justified it. That's all. Similarly, in ESG valuation also, it will come. Okay, I think it's our conclusion. Valuation work associated with ESG might be relatively new, but the techniques and tools necessary to perform ESG valuation already exist. Everything is existing. As we see that companies digitalization and information All these things. They are not using it for ESG, that's all. ESG valuation already exists. Advances in data science, that is data, underpinned by widespread digitization of information, make it far easier today to measure just about anything with the right effort and process. Anything you can measure. An intangible asset valuation concept of, as I said, MPIM and BIP can should be applied to unique ESG cash flows. In case of cash flows, you have to apply for this one. ESG valuation can be used to reconcile and support an adjustment of CAPM. These words here learned in MPP classes. Average, what is that? WCC, weighted average cost, all those things. Why alpha? Alpha is usually the term used by securities and finance people. So forget about that one. ESG is important and valuable, but it will be more valuable when it's clearly quantified and valued using conventional and customary approaches. A definite measure value approach is the right way to tackle this important and challenging issue. A definite measure value. That is what we are expecting from IBSE. Soon it will be released. Hope so. We are optimistic. Okay. I think it is over. Yeah. I respond. So this is in short what is ESG stands for. I hope you got some idea. If you are new to the subject, and those who are already in this field, at least can correct me, give me the feedback so that I can include in my next ESG class for. No, this is a never-ending process, ESG, because it's a new chapter, no, new topic of valuation. So it will continue. So far, we have reached this stage. We understood we have techniques. We understood we have to do this valuation in future. But the only question remains is the framework. When the framework is established, then we will do that particular type of valuation. And most of the buildings, you see, how many buildings are coming up? He targeted so many buildings in 2020, 2025, 2030. We have targets. It's a heavy job now in front of him. So let me thank you all for patient listening. I'm so much indebted to you. Yes, Kushal Gupta, ma'am, Kushal sir, if you have any doubt, you can
yes,
ask.
Sir, the session was good, very nice. But sir, can you share some case study on this where you have done some calculations and
I don't do any calculation at all.
means that
some calculation, of course, it is available in Google. You can search for it, calculation, or I will present it.
means you have done, if you have done some valuation, I will be aware.
Not, I am not supposed to do now. Nobody of us. Because IBSE is so far international valuation standards are not formulated any this thing. You can do that. You can learn the subject and wait for 3 to 6 months. By that time, you can do. We should be prepared. At any time, you have to start this kind of valuations. Valuation of ESG. I cannot do that, but I can have some examples. That that examples mainly it is for SFI people, that is security and finance people. Whatever they are given. That's why I am not included in this one. It is difficult to understand. It is it will go more than 2 hours because how to find the alpha factor, how to find the high risk factor, how to find these are all taken into account. Then they will finally in discounted cash flow, they will reduce the price ESG when it comes around in dollars, 16 or 6,000, $6 million, something like that. So calculation is easy for you once you are familiar with the DCF as well as cost approach. As a land and building valuer, you can do the cost approach elements that I explained. You take different elements and value it. And life cycle, that is called, we are doing it life cycle valuation, because it is renewable.
Oh,
Plus capitalize your energy saving. These kind of things we can do. Okay, sir, anything else?
yes, sir. No, sir. It's fine.
Very good question, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, anything else?
Sir, is there any incentive scheme or something which government is going to declare for this for ESG?
Unluckily, no, sir.
Yeah.
So far, no, because stakeholders and shareholders, their main attractiveness is from shareholders. See,
Yes,
if your corporate is socially committed and they show it, their share value will be more. And government has so far for affordable houses they are giving, but ESG no. As far as I know, there is no incentive as far as ESG concept in India, even not in India, everywhere. This is a voluntary thing which we are. That's why I told the first class, for the beginning of the class, that it should be in a fundamental duty. No incentive. For what you are getting incentive? To live for your future generation? It is everyone's duty. So be rather than giving incentives, use it for some good purpose. It is each individual duty. So we have total 25 participants. That's good.
Sir, who can do the ESG valuation at present? It is financial asset valuer only?
No,
Or
no. It can be done. See, as I told you, as an individual, a self-assessment. Somebody has come to you for a self-assessment.
Yeah.
You can do it. It is not statute or company laws or income tax laws.
Yeah.
That is the difference.
Mhm.
For other things, you can do it. No issues. How much you are going to save? That's a good thing. That is called self-assessment or some other purpose of valuation. When it comes under statute, it is different.
Yeah, some corporate may
Approach
do
you.
like that. Yeah.
If you are, they will approach you. What are the best quality of alternatives and value it.
Right.
Being an engineer, being a valuer. Okay. Mr. Muttaya Sundararaja sir.
Question, sir. Whether this new concept ESG is introduced in IBS or incorporated in IBS?
What?
Whether this concept is incorporated in IBS, Indian valuation standards?
There is no Indian. So far, we are not published any Indian valuation standards. It is international valuation standards.
Sorry, international.
You have that copy, soft copy with you?
No, sir, I don't know.
I will try to share that one. Okay.
Thank you.
So that international valuation standards are set apart the basis of value, approaches, and everything. So you have to learn that one. Okay. Anyway, I think Mr. Atul Agarwal ji, you are talking to somebody or me? I cannot hear you. He's talking to somebody else. Yes. So shall we conclude? We'll meet again with more what you call tools, approved
Right.
tools.
It was
Okay.
a nice presentation by you, sir. It's a new subject, and you touched it very in a better way.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, so shall we conclude?
Yeah, better. Yeah,
Aye.
Sharmaji. Yes.
Okay, okay. So we are coming to the end of this CEP. Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of Divyajyoti, I thank our faculties, Kumar sir, and our participants. The topic is new, but slowly it will gain ground and become very important.
Yes.
So it is very nice that we have, we are studying it now, and it will be, this ESG will impact the valuation in a significant way in future. Thank you very much, Kumar sir and participants. Please share your feedback and share other topics which you would like to have CEP on. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. You can suggest some topics also so that RBO
Yes,
can
sir.
arrange
Yes.
the topics which is interesting you.
Thank you, Madam Kajal.
Maybe I will get
Thank
a
you,
chance
sir.
to
Thank
face
you.
you again.
Thank
Right?
you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
Goodbye.
you, sir.
Kajal madam, thank you. And I don't know who are others.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
It's a
thank
good
you. I
pleasure.
will take a screenshot. I'm leaving the